Hey guys, and welcome. Today I want to dive into a bit more Destiny 2 lore and even pull at a couple of heartstrings for those more longer term and OG fans of the Destiny franchise. Now, in Season of the Haunted, everyone within the Vanguard and even the likes of Empress Cayde-6 are all haunted by their nightmares, rather generally from their past or, in Crow's case, from a previous life. But today I want to focus around one story in particular, one character which we all as Destiny fans love, and who had a very close relationship with a fallen member of the Vanguard. Those stories are of Ikora and the nightmare of Cayde-6. If you guys going to enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe for more content coming throughout Season 17. But let's get into it. So for those new Destiny fans jumping onto the game for the very first time, or even along with the Witch Queen, you might not be familiar with the likes of Cayde-6 and who he actually is. I did want to spend a little bit of time first going over who Cayde-6 was and how he actually died within the Destiny franchise. Make sure you guys check the timestamps in the description down below to skip past this point if you don't want to hear about it, or to skip to whichever part of the video you would like to. But anyway, let's get into it.
There's the Guardian I've been looking for. Look, only way to stop the Taken is to get you on the Dreadnought. We need a stealth drive. I've got one hidden in the...
Cayde, what are you whispering?
Nothing? Nothing. I'll contact you in the Cosmodrome.
Cayde-6 was an Exo Guardian and a Hunter class for the Vanguard, who was partnered with a ghost named Sundance. Cayde-6 was a famous explorer and adventurer in his younger days. Cayde ran with a pack of hunters that included Shiro 4 and Andal Brask, his predecessor as Hunter Vanguard. After Andal was murdered by Taniks the Sacred, who Cayde believed he had previously killed, Cayde took up his friend's post in the tower, despite his hatred of being stuck doing paperwork and unable to go out into the field and do missions.
Hey, take me with you. I hate this job.
As the Hunter Vanguard, Cayde often looked the other way or facilitated Guardians who operated outside of normal operating procedures. Despite this, he became a close friend of both fellow Vanguard Commander Zavala and Ikora Rey. During the Taken War, he assisted the Guardians in infiltrating the Dreadnought to defeat Oryx, the Taken King, and later fought alongside them on the front line of the Red War. His experiences in the Red War led Cayde to leave his duties in the last city, and in turn returned to the field missions, which unfortunately for us led to his demise in the Prison of Elders at the hands of Uldren Sov and the Scorn Barons. Now, along with us in the Vanguard, Cayde travelled alongside us to the Reef in light of civil unrest and a breakout from the Prison of Elders. We both show up in the aid of Petra Venge in reactivating the security system and putting down the prisoners. The three split up and find their way through the prison until they manage to get what's left of the prison up and running. Once the deed is done, Petra alerts Cayde to the escape of the Scorn Barons. Driven to stop them first, Cayde knocks out the suspension on one of the control stations and rides the falling wreck down to the Barons' escape route, which, by the way, is an amazing cutscene. In an unexpected turn of events, he encounters the 8 Scorn Barons, and after a fight with several members of the Scorn, Pyrrha, the rifleman, destroyed his ghost, Sundance. Realizing that the end was near, Cayde took solace in the fact that he would be reunited with his long-lost, dead son, Ace, before assuming a defiant pose by aiming his gun towards Rekis Varn, the Hangman. Cayde was promptly knocked through a wall by the Baron's sensor, where he encountered Uldren Sov. Upon realizing that Uldren intended to kill him, he taunted him with the knowledge that the Guardians would hunt him and the Barons down. Uldren then held Cayde at gunpoint with his own weapon, the Ace of Spades. When asked for his last words, Cayde delivered one final taunt towards Uldren before being fatally shot in the chest.
Any last words?
How's your sister?
Unfortunately, us and the Vanguard arrived too late, unable to save him or stop Uldren Sov. Cayde uses his last moments to make sure that we, the Guardian, don't feel blame for what's happened, and he asks us to relay his final words to Ikora and Zavala, before he dies his final death, stating, that this was the best bet that he had ever lost. Taking justice into our own hands, we set out to claim revenge on Cayde and hunt down Uldren Sov. Cayde-6's death took the entire community by storm. No one was expecting it, and to be done at the beginning of a season, it really did set the precedence for the rest of it. With the Scorn Sniper destroying Sundance as well, there was just no way that he could have been resurrected by the light or the ghost. And again, just quickly to recap and go over for those that are new to the franchise and they're listening to this for the first time, a Guardian can be revived by their ghost if they're killed when they're still under the light. This is why Cayde has numbers at the end of his name. This is how many times that he's essentially been revived and reset by the light, aka his ghost. Although this does mean that he essentially has a hard reset after this point and has no memories of his past life and things like that. And that's the reason why Uldren Sov killed, resurrected by the light, and he doesn't really remember his previous self, and he's so different now, and obviously he's called Crow. So if Sundance wasn't destroyed, potentially we could have had Cayde-7, but yeah, it didn't go that way. But I do want you guys to pay attention and watch this cutscene from after Cayde's death with Ikora, Zavala, and us as the Guardian. But particularly pay attention to Ikora, her tone, and some of the dialogue that she comes out with.
I wanted to laugh. I really did. We should have been there. This is not your fault. This is on the head of Uldren Sov. But if he thinks what he's done is the end, it's not. It's the beginning. We're going to fight him. Do you hear me? All of us, every Titan, every Warlock, every Hunter. We will take the Reef by storm. And then we will mount the head of that son of a bitch on his precious throne. For our fire team. For Cayde.
No,
What did you say?
we are not an army. We are not conquerors. We are guardians. We need to keep our eyes here. On our home, our people, the Traveler. The Reef was lost the moment it lost its queen. So if another Sov wants a stretch of lifeless rocks, let him have it.
This is Cayde we're talking about. For us to do nothing is
Say it.
cowardice.
I refuse to bury any more friends.
You won't have to. Uldren Sov is mine.
Now, this cutscene does show you that Ikora had a sentiment towards Cayde. They had a relationship so strong that this would literally go on to haunt her for the rest of her days. And this leads up to where we are right now within Season of the Haunted, Season 17. Now, I want to read some lore from an exotic sidearm which was once taken into battle by one of Cayde's close friends, Shiro 4. This gives us a lot of information and pretty much all the information we need to determine that Cayde may make a return in some form. And it might even return what's to come in the week 3 and beyond. So let's get straight into it. You are not welcome. It kills me to say it, but I really am impressed, the voice says, an echo reverberating from the past. Ikora does her best to keep focus, to push past a breath of resurging anguish, but a nightmare like this refuses to be so easily ignored. It stands at her side, wearing her friend's face. horn and all, the ribboned edges of its cloak swaying beside the hand cannon holstered at the hip. It speaks with his voice, but its words are false and dripping with poison. She forces herself forward, climbing the steps to the Leviathan's entrance. Walking in unadvisedly is usually my whole thing. It continues and floats beside her, unless you've started taking after me. You are nothing more than a memory, Ikora replies without looking at it. You are not him. Can't argue with that logic, it says, flashing a smile. After all, he's dead. Ikora flinches as the nightmare circles around, hovering just over her shoulder. Thanks to Zavala, you, and most of all, thanks to Uldren Sov. Ikora's brows frown and she clenched her fists, continuing her ascent. He shot me with my own gun, the nightmare presses. Do you remember that? Ikora picks up a pace. Still, the nightmare follows closely behind. I mean, you must, right? It asks. What was it that you promised to do? Mount his head on the precious throne? That was some real big talk, Ikora. But instead of doing that, instead, you welcomed that scumbag into the tower with open arms. So I'm thinking either your memories are a little mixed up, or maybe you really have forgotten what that murderer did to me. Crow is not Uldren, Ikora seethes. The nightmare smirks. Right, just like I'm not Cayde. Ikora spins on her heels, chests heavying, void light flaring in the fists and deep within her eyes. But there's nothing behind her, only the emptiness of space. Ikora, Eris's voice crackles over the comms. Perhaps it would be best for you to return. Ikora breathes deeply, palms flat at her sides. She gives the Leviathan doors one long, final look before turning back. For me, this is huge. Really, really interesting, and it only teases really what's probably going to happen later on down the line. Now, will potentially at one point Ikora do this ritual and then have Cayde-6 next to her as well whilst doing it? And again, very similar to what happened in week 2, where Uldren Sov is essentially turned into some psychedelic phantom which can be used to fight against the darkness. Maybe this is what's going to happen with Cayde-6, and man, maybe we get to fight alongside Cayde-6 for the last time. Could you imagine how mental that would be going forward? Just for like a week or so in one of the weekly updates, having the ability to fight alongside Cayde again as some form of phantom to fight against the darkness and Callus's army. I would love that so much. But what do you guys think about this? Cayde-6 was one of my favourite characters in the Destiny franchise, and when he did die and was out of the game, yeah, it was pretty hard for me to take and to enjoy it as much as other people might have. But I'm really glad he's still being referenced to this day and brought back into the game, even if it is for the wrong reasons right now. But guys, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. As I mentioned, I'm really excited for week 3. I'll be covering it all on the channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the notification bell if you want to be updated with everything that goes on immediately when this update does drop. But guys, leave a like if you did enjoy, share the video, gets it out there as well, and we'll see you all in the next one.